Hi crew. Today is going to be a bit of a sad one. A deep talk and actually the first video I've ever given to have a trigger warning. Today we're reading one of the real stories of kids who are so worth being heard. So if you are in a dark patch, if you feel at all triggered, please click off. I've tried to soften the story without allowing it to lose meaning, but there's some things you can't lessen in a script. So if at any moment you feel a certain way or that you need to call someone, please call a hotline and worry about yourself, because you are so worth the worry. This project is so much more than being physically alone. Maybe you can see all your contacts without a scroll bar, but I don't think we have yet to talk about mentally feeling alone and the facade people put on to be nice, quote, quote, to take advantage of people. I remember when I was little and in private school, how the girls really pushed me out of their group and called me the weird kid. But the moment one of their girls was out, I was welcomed with open arms. And because I was so little and innocent, I didn't realize that I was a game to these girls until the 5th grade. And that is heartbreaking. And my inner child is not recovered fully. I was around those kids every single day. I felt like I was a part of them because I was simply so young I didn't know any better. But ever since I realized that I was their free entertainment, friendships haven't felt the same since. I can be around people but still feel like I'm not a part of them. And it's a scary, dissociative thing you feel when you look over all the faces around and realize they don't know who you really are or what you go through. So today, I want to honor and respect this person and give the best light to their pain. I won't name the original poster as to respect their privacy, and please don't go hunting them down either. I ask that you hear their story and that we cherish the person behind it. Our story today is from a girl who's now in the range of 9th grade to 11th, and when I first read her story, I had a flood of compassion. And her post reads, "Hey everyone, my story starts at the age of 12. I have always been the chubby kid, which doesn't fly when you get to a certain age. By 6th grade, I was being constantly fat-shamed and being told to end my story. The only way they would stop is if I would do their assignments for them, which led me to doing 4 other people's assignments and therefore neglecting my health. By the end of that year, I had developed severe anxiety and depression, and not soon after, I was diagnosed with autism in the middle of the spectrum. I drifted through the next few years of life slowly, developing terrible sensory issues, which landed me in therapy. Soon I went into the 9th grade, and for a while, life seemed great. No more bullying, school dances, talking stages, dyed hair. I was thriving. Then something shifted. A close guy friend of mine started acting strange. It started with brushes on my shoulder, and soon a confession. I was talking to someone else at the time, so I politely rejected him and gave him my reason for doing so. I thought that would be enough, but little did I know that it was more than a crush. Every single day, he would ask me out multiple times. He found my email address, the phone numbers of my friends. I started to skip school just to get away from him. My grades dropped from straight A's to failed classes, and I turned to scratching myself whenever I felt anxious. I felt like I deserved it at first, that I shouldn't be anxious when nothing was wrong. Around the same time, I lost my best friend to a guy who SA'd my female friend in the past. No matter how much we warned my best friend, he got to her faster. He said he changed, but his hands all over her told a different story. She said he was like her brother. I told her it's not normal to be caressed by your brother figure. She chose him over us. I started to blame myself for the situation. I should have done more to stop it, but it was too late. I started to hate myself again. I turned to SHing myself and started to lose hope that I would get better. I was on so many medications that I would do anything to feel. It was around that time I met my boyfriend and became close with my 2 sisters. Soon, my boyfriend and I became a couple. and I thought maybe life was getting better. I had 2 great sisters who I would do anything for, and who always supported me. Little did I know that I would soon plan my end. I was set on my decision, but the hardest was to tell my boyfriend. I told him, and my goodness, that was a tough conversation. My sisters and him saved my life. Soon I made it to summer and marching band season. I told myself it would be good for me. It was not. The guy who previously asked me out, along with my childhood friend, became obsessed with my boyfriend. They needed to see him, know his full name, where he lived, his school, his birthday, basically everything about him. Soon someone had to step in. My childhood friend sat next to me for rehearsals. We didn't choose it. We were put there. He started touching my leg. He would slap my thighs. No one seemed to have a problem with it, so why should I? I stopped saying no because he never listened anyway, so why bother? I hated it. I can sometimes still feel his hand on my leg, and yet I will go back there tomorrow and do it all over again. I started to plan my end again because it just didn't seem worth it to keep going. I decided that on June 28th, I would breathe my last breath, but something stopped me. I lived. My sister got therapy. I just had to live until after the 28th, and I told myself I could do that. I'm struggling to do that. As I lay on the floor of my friend's house, I argued with my sister. She told me to stay and told her, I don't know if I can. And as I write this to share my story, I am fighting a battle inside my head. And as tears run down my face, I want you all to know that it can get better. There is hope and good people in this world. Just think of my sisters who saved my life repeatedly. How after being bullied, I was able to heal, to get better. I hope you can learn from my story, and please, please, please never harm yourself. It isn't worth it. And to everyone reading this who's going through something similar, just know I am rooting for you forever and always. Thank you for hearing my story. She left a semicolon at the bottom. A semicolon resembles how a writer could have ended their sentence but didn't. They keep writing. This story pulls on my heartstrings so much, and I am so sorry this person had to feel what they felt. I can only imagine how alone and trapped she's felt. Nothing in her story is okay. We can talk a lot about making friends and getting out of your comfort zone, but I don't care how well you know a person. I don't care how much of friends you are. I don't care how long you've known each other. A touch is a touch. And if you don't like it, and if you speak up and nothing happens, that's when you need to tell someone you trust. An adult, a supervisor, the authorities, whatever you think the outcomes are, whatever trouble you feel like you'll be in, it's a lie in your head. You'll sleep better. You'll feel safer knowing a person can't do what they've done to you, to anyone else. I tell you always to be friendly, but there's necessary times to get mean. My dad has taught me that if my words aren't working and my boundaries are being pushed, that I have full permission to do what I have to do to feel safe. And I am here to give you that permission too. Always, always, always be friendly. But always be safe. Guard your heart. And if you meet someone who starts getting weird, for lack of better words, do what you have to be safe. You are worth the worry. You are worth the safety. You are worth taking your time. You are worth your space. Do not let anyone else tell you differently. I get it. I get weird, sometimes hurtful comments on my videos. And I have to ask people if I did anything wrong. But some people are just going to be cruel, and you don't deserve that. And if you think you do, please try to prove yourself wrong. It is my purpose in life, I feel, to give voices to those who feel like they don't have any. So if you would like to share your story, I have a Reddit community up, link in the description. I want you to know that you are loved, you deserve to be heard, and if it can make anything in you feel better, I love you. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.